So this was my first ever manual cop on Kith.com, and I'm super excited about it. For whatever reason, Kith mostly does first come first serve releases on most hype sneaker releases, so if you've tried in the past, you'll know that it's pretty tough because, you know, bots. I selfishly tried for this pair in my size to begin with, but unfortunately they sold out super fast, which isn't surprising. I saw they had a few sizes still sitting around, so I went in for a 6.5, which is Steph's size, and somehow got through. If you don't know what these things are, these were part of a partnership between Kith and the New York Knicks. If you're following the industry at all, you'll know that Kith's Ronnie Feig has been killing it with all the various partnerships he's built out in 2020, so it's no surprise because he's essentially a global icon at this point when it comes to streetwear, fashion, all that stuff. The shoes themselves are pretty cool, but before getting into it, we could start with this box. So this is just a standard gray Nike Air Force 1 box. No special Kith logoing anywhere. Taking a look at the box label, it's an Air Force 1 Low dash Kith in the white and brilliant orange color. I saw some places online include the Rush Blue in the colorway, but it's obviously not in the box. These had a $130 retail price when they released on December 18th, 2020, just a few days ago. At the time of me filming this, it's December 23rd, so it only took them a few days to get to my doorstep. So opening these things up, just like the box, standard Air Force 1 paper, no Kith branding or anything, which is fine because you'll find a lot of it on the sneakers themselves. So with the box out of the way, we're getting straight into the sneakers now. You'll see that they're primarily in a white tumbled leather with accents of orange and blue. The pebbled leather itself is actually pretty nice to the touch, and the quality of it feels pretty good. If I had to guess, this sort of material is a finish, so it may just be a synthetic leather, but the finish on top of it is actually pretty nice. I personally don't have a pair, but if I had to compare it, I think this is similar leather to what the recent Air Force 1 Crafts use. The one thing I will note about this leather too is that if you're someone that's super meticulous about creasing, with this sort of textured leather, I could just see when your foot creases, it'll blend in very nicely. It's not like a smooth leather that you'd find with, say, an Air Jordan 1 mid. But then again, if you're in the sneaker game and you're worried about creases, maybe you should think twice about what you're doing because sneakers are obviously meant to be worn. The swooshes on the mid panels are in this TPU material, and on the lateral side is this orange color, while on the medial side is the blue, obviously the two primary colors for the New York Knicks. The swoosh is a real love it or hate it thing beyond the actual color gradient. It's not a standard Air Force 1 swoosh that you'd see. So for comparison's sake here, I have my 2003 LeBron Air Force 1 PEs, and you can see how the swoosh follows back to the heel. In the case of the swoosh on this Kith pair, it stops right about there towards the ankle. According to Kith's marketing material, this sort of swoosh was popular in the 2000s and is a nod to that. And while I'm pulling out other sneakers for comparison, here's the Supreme pair of SB Dunk Lows that are a jewel swoosh. And in seeing them both, there's obviously a comparable size difference. This one's a little bit bigger. So it's not quite a jewel swoosh, but it does have that plastic element to it. In any case, this plastic material is pretty nice, and it's a nice switch up from a standard leather swoosh that you'd find on, you know, most Air Force 1s. At the heel counter is this New York City Nike swoosh logo. And while Kith is pretty much global at this time, their flagship store is based in Soho, so this is very fitting. Again, while I'm pulling out sneakers in the collection here, it reminds me a lot of these Rucker Park Air Force 1s that I picked up earlier in the summer, and that they both have some sort of nod to New York City at the heel counter. More signs of these being a Kith collab could be found at the back heel, particularly at this embroidered logo that says Kith Air instead of the usual Nike Air. Additionally, at the tongue tag is this orange to blue Kith logo that says Kith Air Force 1, and that same logo could be found at the insole graphic as well. And while I'm in there, you can see that these have a white inner liner just to match the overall white theme to these sneakers. These come laced up in a standard white lace. These also come with an extra set of white laces, which look to be a little more premium. So if you can see through the bag here, they have some gold lace tips, as well as these gold lace dubras that say Kith and have a Nike swoosh underneath, which are pretty cool. I'm definitely going to push Steph to put these laces on just for that added pop. Closing out the shoe now is a white rubber midsole resting on top of this icy blue translucent outsole, which is a great touch in my mind. I love a nice icy outsole. While I can't provide an on-foot shot of me wearing these things, I can speak on sizing a bit. So Air Force 1s traditionally run a little bit big, so definitely go down half size from your true true shoe size. The overall comfort on these things is decent. They don't use any crazy cushioning or sneaker technologies of today. While they aren't the most comfortable, they're not uncomfortable either, if that makes sense. And overall, I think these things are just a nice, clean, simple sneaker. I think it's a slight flex and different from the general release Air Force Ones that you'll find at a retail store, for example. These aren't an earth-shattering design or anything. It's more of an if you know, you know sneaker. And by no means am I a Knicks fan at all. If you actually check out my Nike Shox VC5 video, you'll know that I'm a diehard Nets fan. But in any case, if you are a Knicks fan, I think these shoes are definitely worth checking out. So you'll probably have to end up grabbing these for resale, although I do think that these are somewhat limited, so resale prices will be on the rise, especially as time goes on. So I'm really glad I got these in Steph size, because if I got them in mine, I don't know if I'd quite wear them. I'd much rather wear these 2010 SB Dunks that I ironically picked up, very unrelated to these. There's nothing special about this pair either, it's just a GR from 2010. However, I just prefer the overall color blocking and the suede material usage, and if I were pulling anything out Knicks colorway, it'd probably be these. These Air Force Ones are being thrown into a triage of stuff that I'm getting Stephanie for Christmas, so I'm glad they came in right before the holidays. Hopefully she likes them. I think she will. I think they'll be a nice addition to her little collection that she's growing, which by the way is actually coming along pretty nicely. Maybe I'll make a video of it at some point. There's not much else to say about this pair beyond that, so be sure to drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more sneaker content. Also be sure to follow me on Instagram at StuffDylanLikes for more behind the scenes content. Let me know what you guys think of these in the comments, and otherwise I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching again, and see you guys soon.